Hi guys, I just want to make this quick video about something that happens to pretty much all learners, and I want to reassure you with this information. Now with driving, it's important that you set down a foundation of driving, yeah? So if you're building a house, you need to have a good foundation to then do the cool stuff, which is like the building at the top, right? So you can't just, when you're not having your first driving lesson, you can't just go off and do roundabouts and complex junctions and stuff like that, because you've got no foundation. You don't know how to control the car. So you have to build foundations, a solid foundation, before you go off and do the cool stuff and you go on like the motorway and the dual carriageway and you do changing lanes, which is my favorite thing of all time with driving. It's difficult, but it's cool, right? But the point of this video is that all learners, they're like building their foundations and building their foundations, and then there's this magical lesson where the penny drops. And driving instructors, if they're watching this, will know what I mean, because there's this one lesson where you're like, oh, you've got it, and everything is like different for that lesson. It's amazing. I just had it just now. That's what's making me make this video, because my student just had it, and yep, she got a gold star. I give out gold stars when people do cool stuff, and she big time got a gold star today, so she deserved that. But the penny dropped, everything came together. It was amazing. On the same breath and in the same statement, I will say that when you're learning to drive, yeah, you may even be going like linear up, right? So you're like, the person's getting better and better and better and better, and then there's this really weird lesson. Like, it's the weird lesson, it's the kind of like odd lesson that's just in there for some reason, and it normally just is like, just reveals itself, and you're like, oh, okay, this is that weird lesson that like was going to happen. And most students have it, like they'll just be driving along, and then you'll be like, take the next road on the left, and then they'll signal right, and then they'll go left, and you're like, that's weird, like that's never happened before, like that's really weird. Or they'll go to put the handbrake on instead of changing gear. Classic one, by the way. But they've never done it before, and then this kind of weird lesson just suddenly happens where they do really bonkers stuff, and then when the lesson's over, they never do it again. So it's like this really weird lesson that just kind of like comes in and goes, oh, I'm just the odd lesson, I'm just the weird lesson, I'm here to like just be weird today. So when this weird lesson happens to you, don't worry about it. I've seen it a million times and it doesn't mean anything. One of my students had it yesterday and she was like, oh my God, like what's wrong with me today? And I'm like, you're just having the weird lesson. It's it's today, you know, here's the odd one that like everybody has. Don't worry about it. Like, you just need to get through it and just learn from it and just be like, that's weird, and then just move on, because it will never come back. Yeah, if it's so odd, if you're doing things that are just beyond bizarre, like, don't worry about it. It's just a one-off. It just happens. I don't know the psychology to it. Maybe if a psychologist is watching my videos, if I've got that far in the YouTube realm, maybe a psychologist can go, oh yes, yeah, I know that it's this and blah, 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 right? But don't worry about it. The penny will drop. You're going to be amazing. Everybody gets it. The only person who doesn't get their driving license is the student who gives up. Everybody can get it. Everybody can get it. It's only the people who give up that don't get their driving license. Yes, I appreciate that some people learn to drive extremely quickly, and that's mostly if they're doing private practice. And then there's some people who take a very long time, a very, very long time. My quickest student, I think, is 5 hours. Yeah, I think it's 5 hours scanning my brain. And my longest lesson, my longest learning experience was a lady, and that was 5 years. But it was on and off. She was going back to her country and then coming back, and then like, so it was very sporadic learning, but that took 5 years. So look, you know, don't worry about it. I hope this information is interesting to you, right? So if you have this odd lesson, don't worry about it, and just like, you know, brush it off, as Taylor Swift says, and get back to your next lesson and have a good time. Just enjoy it, guys. You know, make sure that you're having a great time, and make sure that you're lifting up your confidence with every lesson that you have. Like, think about all the good stuff that you do. Yeah, make a brag file. If you haven't watched that video about making a brag file, brag about the good stuff. build your confidence every time. My mirror work was good, my clutch work was good, my turns were good, my understanding was good. Brag, brag, brag about yourself and build your confidence up. All right, guys, I hope this helps, and I'll speak to you on the next one.